My team's nearing the end of a theme redesign for medical distribution group, and part of that theme design comes with a couple of filters that weren't there beforehand to loop through their product categories. And they sell drug tests, cup kits, as well as other products. And basically, they wanted to be able to show the number of panels that they can test for, the type of kit it actually is, and if it's either what kind of regulatory status it's for. And so looking at this product here, this is a 14 panel, it's a cup test, and it is CLIA waived. However, to get these into custom fields, which is what BigCommerce needs to actually make them filters, we had to go through and look at their information, whether it was the title up top, this description here telling us that it's over the counter, as well as CLI waived for the regulatory status, and then the number of drugs that each one tests. So this one was 14, so there's 14 drugs here that it tests. And our end goal was to put this into custom fields. So we needed to say primary drug, we needed to list it. And to do this by hand was going to be exhaustive. There's 264 products in this catalog. They have the information, it's just not readily available and entered in the custom fields, which is what we need to create product filtering. And the product filtering, so I have done this already so I can show how it looks and acts. These are the refined by filters. So if I want to look into this category and find everything that tests for amphetamines, there's 47 products, and then it's going to tell us which 47 products those are that didn't exist prior to this. So basically, it's our job at Broad Solutions to make the data work for them. And instead of asking their team to type it in and all this effort, we're merging Claude Code and using the data at our fingertips and then making an API call. So I'm going to run through that real quick. We downloaded a CSV file of basically where their catalog was at, and we included the product ID, the product SKU, the product name, the category it was in, the description, and the product custom fields. So some of them already had custom fields, but basically I fed Claude Code and VS Code all of the information. So this is the CSV file. Here's how I actually want it to be rendered as. I did one by hand and gave it that example. Loop through every product row with information specifically about primary drug, device type, which is referenced in the category, the regulatory status that's referenced in the description, and then the panel count that's actually referenced in the title, and then again, primary drug that was referenced in the description. So I'm feeding it all of this data and saying, hey, Claude Code, could you take this existing spreadsheet, make everything a product custom field? And so I gave it the exact parameters that the client has requested. So here are all the panel counts. Here are all of the device types. Here are all of the primary drugs. Can you create a new JSON, which is data output with the product ID and custom field, so then I can use it to save the data? And I want to reference this URL here. So back over here, BigCommerce has a nice way to create product custom fields. And with this endpoint, all I need is the product ID, and then I just need to feed it a little bit of data, which is the name and value. That comes back over here, primary drug, BAR. And so VS Code, through the first pass, created a nice JSON output that looks something like this. So I have a product ID, here's the name of it, here's the custom field, here's the device type, here's the regulatory status, and here's the primary drug. So you can see it's different for every product. It organized a nice pretty list. It scrubbed through the CSV for me. It already knew because the data was there. I didn't have to go retype it in somewhere else. This is what it did. First pass, it looked good. I read through it. It was a 14 panel drug. I only had 12 listed. I asked Claude Code again. I said, hey, you missed it. Basically, we need to match the panel count with the number of drugs that are in the system. Can you create a pass 2? It ran through that. It found 64 mismatches. Again, this is AI plus human in the loop here, so it's important to have someone who knows what they're doing and can read this stuff. And it gave me a pass 2. That pass 2 was ready. I then asked it and gave it I created this post custom fields file here, gave it the example from BigCommerce right here for JavaScript, copied this over. It's just a singular post. I asked Claude Code, hey, I need to loop through this new product custom fields JSON, so it's going to read that. And then it's going to loop through every single product custom ID and post them one at a time. And unfortunately, the way that the API is, it has to do it one at a time. Works out in my benefit here because it either is successful or it errors out. And if it errors out, nothing bad happens, nothing changes. But if it's successful, it goes through and it outputs into the terminal exactly what I needed it to do with a response, whether it was yes good or X bad. And it gave me the final sum here at the end. So in about 40 minutes, I was able to download their CSV, create a little bit of code behind it, post 1,060 fields to the catalog very quickly. All the while, I was able to set up the actual filtering on BigCommerce. So I have primary drug, panel account, device type, and regulatory status. And if I refresh this, it should show the number of products. So 72 products fit into that one, 57 here, 88 and 75. And so now, again, as you saw from the first iteration, I can go through and we can select exactly the types that we're doing. So this is a modern experience that people expect nowadays, especially in catalogs that are large. They want to be able to filter. How do you do that? You got to make them fields. They got to be specific. They got to have the same name and follow the same convention. If this was BZOZ, it wouldn't match. And so that's also important too. So just another Friday here at Broad Solutions, helping a client out. This is what we do. Yeah, happy Friday. Have a good weekend.